Jennifer Hesse disappeared on the night
John Lorden here. Hope you're having a great day, and thank you for joining me for another solved mystery here on Brain Scratch Case Cracked. Today we're covering a case that was highly recommended by many of you, and Christy Arnhart has been hard at work on. Today we answer the question, where is Larry? Council Bluffs is the most populous city in southwest Iowa and forms part of the Omaha, Nebraska metropolitan area. It is located on the east bank of the Missouri River, across from the city of Omaha, and is known as the historic starting point of the Mormon Trail. In the 1800s, steam-powered boats ferried wagons and cattle across the Missouri River to the settlements beyond. Today, Council Bluffs' population stands at roughly 62,000 people, with the Omaha metropolitan region being the 59th largest in the United States, with an estimated population of just over 933,000. Today, Council Bluffs is known for its water parks, annual block parties, and close-knit Honduran community. But even the most close-knit communities suffer loss. On Thanksgiving Day, November 26, 2009, Larry Eli Murillo Moncada had just finished his shift at the No Frills supermarket store on West Broadway. After returning from work that night, Larry seemed disoriented. The 25-year-old Honduran immigrant was having health issues that concerned the parents he shared a home with. The next day, his mother took him to the doctor, where he was prescribed an antidepressant, but unfortunately, the medication didn't appear to help. Only a day later, November 28th, she noted that his feelings of confusion persisted, and soon after, he also started experiencing auditory hallucinations. He was hearing voices that said, "Eat sugar," his mother Anna Moncada would say. He felt his heart was beating too hard and thought that if he ate sugar, his heart would not beat so hard. Then came the other hallucinations. He said somebody was following him, and he was scared, she added. At 6:15 p.m. that night, Larry suddenly became irrational and started to fight with his parents. Unable to calm him down, Larry angrily left his home in the middle of a snowstorm, wearing only his navy blue hoodie and light blue pants. Larry left home that November night without shoes, socks, or the keys to his car. The family believed the new medication was to blame for his irrationality, and as the storm worsened, his parents knew they had to get him back home quickly. We went out to find him, my wife and I. Another friend came to help me. We got up early and couldn't find anything. It felt like the earth had swallowed him whole, his father, Victor Murillo, stated. As a missing persons report was filed, calls were made to family friends asking, "Have you seen Larry?" Flyers popped up around the city and searches were organized, but the efforts yielded little information on Larry's whereabouts. He appeared to have vanished, and the family still had no real idea what prompted their son's anger or hasty departure. Officers contacted family members, other law enforcement agencies, nearby detention centers, and even the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency. Larry had been previously deported to Honduras before making his way back to the United States and starting his job at No Frills Supermarket. Now, missing for several days, authorities say they couldn't find any information regarding his possible whereabouts. For the next 10 years, no one would hear or see anything from him. It's now January 24th, 2019, and contractors had been hired to go into the No Frills Supermarket, which shut down 3 years prior, to remove shelving and tear apart the old freezer unit. As the freezer was freed from its moorings, these workers made a terrible discovery. Crammed into an 18-inch space just 12 feet from the top of the freezer was a mummified body wearing a navy blue hoodie, light blue pants, and no shoes. Because the body had been in that spot for such a lengthy period of time, it would take authorities months to confirm the identity. Medical examiners were ultimately able to determine the identity of the remains through DNA analysis, but one police sergeant didn't need those DNA results to know who they had found. Council Bluffs Police Sergeant Brandon Danielson stated that Larry immediately came to his mind when the body was found. And he also remembered that there was at least one person who suspected Larry might have been in the store the whole time. The mother. She kind of had an idea he had never left the no frills, Sergeant Danielson said. I don't know how she came up with that idea. Authorities did visit the store earlier in their investigation, but Larry's boss said he didn't know where his employee had gone and he wasn't scheduled to work that day. With his parents unaware of where he stormed off to and employees not expecting him in the store on this day off, investigators didn't consider searching the supermarket. They believed that Larry left his home and went to the supermarket where he sat on top of the cooler in the back of the store. According to former employees, the area was a common space for workers to rest during their breaks when they wanted to be alone. Officials believe that while sitting on the cooler, Larry, who was 5'5" and weighed 140 pounds, fell into the area where he was trapped between the cooler and the wall. Because he had fallen sideways and as a result of becoming stuck, he likely would have not have been able to scream for help. Even if Larry had cried out, they presume it would have been almost impossible to hear his cries over the tremendously loud noise of the coolers. It's so loud, there's probably no way anyone heard him, Sergeant Danielson said. After a few months, the remains were confirmed to be Larry's. Investigators did not offer an official cause of death, but they have ruled it as accidental. The autopsy report didn't show any signs of physical trauma. While the discovery answers many questions for the family and police force that for a decade had little to no knowledge on Larry's location and condition, several questions still remain. What impact did the new medication have on his behavior? And how were neither employees nor customers able to detect the smell of the decaying body in the grocery store? It is still unclear just what kind of medication Larry was on. Numerous former shoppers have since come forward to say that they could always smell something terrible when they were inside the store. Some even opted to not shop there anymore. But others noticed that over time, the smell didn't seem so bad. His heartbroken father, Victor, has spoken of his pain and distress after learning of his son's fate and has demanded to know why it took so long to find him. They closed the building. The freezers weren't working anymore. So how can a body just be there? Our heads are spinning, finding this out after so many years. It is distressing. It makes us feel a lot of pain. Case cracked. Really tough story. Honestly, I wasn't even sure if we were going to cover it when I initially looked into it, but so many of you asked about it that I thought we should go ahead and do it and take this time to just touch on the aspect of mental health and how challenging that can be for some people. And this is one of those terrible cases where we have someone that was struggling. He was just starting to get some form of help, and it was just too late. It was just that the timing wasn't right. And unfortunately, we have this terrible tragedy. Of course, we have these questions. How did he get into the store? I mean, did he go there when it was open? If he did, wouldn't employees have noticed that, hey, there's Larry, and by the way, he's not wearing any shoes, and he's hanging out, where we usually take our breaks. And he left his keys at home. So if the store was closed, did he have another way to get in there? Did he have another set of keys that possibly weren't the same as his home keys? Just a lot of questions in this case, but I don't know that those answers would really bring us to any better understanding than just taking the lessons in terms of the mental health challenge. And if you see someone like this struggling in your family, you have to get on the horse. You have to get them that help. Sooner is always better than later in these cases. And if you yourself are struggling with mental health and you live here in the U.S., if you don't know where to turn, you can always call the United Way by dialing 211 or visiting www.unitedway.org. And I know there's other great organizations all around the world, so no matter where you live, reach out and ask for that help and find that help. It's so, so important. We've covered several cases on this channel. that kind of echo this sentiment. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to do this video with you guys here today, just to remind everyone. I know there's a lot of us out there that have struggled with these issues, but there's even more family members that might have seen their loved ones struggling with these issues. And if you are one of those family members, take action. Sooner is always better than later. Before I end today's video, I want to thank several PayPal supporters, starting with Michael Park, Emily Dolan, and Mark Witt. Thank you all so much for supporting me. If you would like to also support me, you can do that at www.lordandarts.com. I'll see you back here on Wednesday with a brand new episode of Searchlight on the Lord and Arts channel.